And welcome back to the pod. Today we're talking about a 16-year-old midfielder called Rory Finneran. Born 29th of February 2008 in England, he joined Blackburn Rovers at the age of 8 and has worked his way through the youth teams there after. In January this year, as a 15-year-old, he came on for the Blackburn Rovers first team in their FA Cup third round match against Cambridge United. That was on the 6th of January 24, and as such became the youngest ever team player, first team player for Blackburn Rovers. I think the previous record was over 100 years earlier. He was on the bench prior to that in the Championship in December 23 and appeared on the bench again for them in the FA Cup 5th round against Newcastle. But again, he didn't make any appearances further since his debut. Coincidentally, his last bench appearance was against Newcastle. They're one of a host of teams interested in signing him now. Internationally, he's represented Ireland under 15s, 16s and 17s extensively to date, captained the under 16s and was also under 15s International Player of the Year for Ireland last year, 23. He qualifies for Ireland through Sligo grandparents who hail from Skryne and Templeboy. He also qualifies for England, of course, through birth. As of yet, he's only represented Ireland, but I presume England are very interested in him. Blackburn season hasn't been the greatest for the club so far. They're in 19th in the Championship, 3 points off the relegation zone with 2 games left at the time of writing, which is unusual because they've got a lot of talent, a lot of goals in that squad, but perhaps they sold players they shouldn't have last summer. Anyway, if they were to stay up or get relegated, wouldn't really impact him personally at the stage he's at. Both scenarios will give him opportunities depending on the approach of the manager and the hierarchy, what approach they might take. For example, if they were to stay up, he's 16, he's no doubt going to get more game time next season as he progresses. But alternatively, if they were unfortunately relegated, the manager could decide to give youth, could sell off big wage players, get in transfer fees for their better players, their more established players, I should say, and give youth a chance. Or he could, of course, the manager could, of course, decide to get older seasoned pros in to try and get them to bounce straight back up. Not that couldn't be done with the youth, but some managers panic and maybe there's a lot of pressure on them. They say, listen, we got to get straight back up, which is fair enough. But on the flip side of that, you bring in a whole lot of seasoned pros and you try and do it that way. If it doesn't work out, you're stuck with their wages. Also, you're paying wages high enough to get people down to that division for players to get you back up. If you stick with young players, they're only going to get better and they might bring you straight back up, so at a lesser cost. So if you ask me, it's better to stick with youth. But anyway, whatever scenario, he's going to get more game time next season if you stay at Blackburn. To note, Blackburn have a clear pathway themselves for youth players into the first team week in, week out, and they've been very successful with a large contingent of Irish players. He has yet to sign a pro deal, and that's where it gets interesting for, him and everyone else. With Rovers, he has been offered a pro contract, of course, by Rovers, and they remain in dialogue with his representatives, his father and his representatives, his family and his representatives. He could yet move this summer, and although Blackburn would be entitled to compensation, it'd be far less than they would get if they were to sell him, if they had him tied down to a pro contract. Of course, they wouldn't want to sell him at all. He's a top talent and he's only going to get better and he's one for the future. Of course, they wouldn't want to sell him, but they might lose him because of the situation now. He's just turned 16. The ball is in his court and there's been interest from Premier League teams, rumoured amongst them to be Newcastle, who have, of course, significant financial muscle and are a club again on the up in the Premier League. they'd be able to put a very attractive package in front of him. So that would be a hard one to turn down for anyone, especially a 16-year-old. Again, would he get into the team there? If depending who they bring in, big names, he's going to fancy himself, but it might actually put his first team football back a few years, because he's gone up a level, which is not going to be a problem for him, but that they could bring in big name stars, and then even if he's playing better than them, it's going to be hard to not play them in front of a young uh, little known player. So, well, he's not little known, but compared to like for example, Inter Miami, to bring in Messi, doesn't matter if somebody's playing better than Messi in training, they're not going to get in the team ahead of Messi. That kind of scenario might happen in Newcastle in the coming years. But anyway, there's also rumoured interest from Germany by various unnamed Bundesliga teams. There was a youth international between Ireland and Germany, I believe, and there was lots of scouts at that. So Germany have been a very successful option for young players, of course, and they have a clear pathway to being fast-tracked, developed into first-team players at elite level clubs. So again, that will be an attractive option. Competition will be intense for him in the summer, and he's in a great situation no matter what scenario he chooses. Stay at Blackburn, continue his development, move to a higher level club or abroad, somewhere like Germany, get a better financial package, better future options. If I was to guess, I'd imagine he'll stay in England, go to Newcastle. They'd come out on top, you'd imagine. But we shall see in the very near future. He and his family, of course, and team will choose the best option for him and his career. If you liked the video, send us a subscribe, like, comment. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we'll be watching.